Hello, everyone, and welcome to Authorprenuership and Congratulations. We're about to start this course in the Forum Part 1. Please be patient with us. We're waiting for more people to come in.
Darling, darling, you're beautiful. Gotta keep your head up. Never let anything bring you down. Sunshine will always come around. Stay strong, move on. You have such a beautiful soul. Let your energy radiate. Darling, darling, you're beautiful. You gotta keep your head up. Never let anything bring you down. The sunshine will always come around. Stay strong, move on. You have such a beautiful soul. Let your energy radiate.
he lost possession of the ball, and he could get, get the referee's attention there and can go down to get the free kick. Thirdly,
Through the stormy weather, darling, darling, please don't ever give up. Darling, darling, you gotta keep your head up. Darling, darling, remember days will get much better. Darling, darling, you can make it through the stormy weather. Darling, darling, please don't ever give up. Darling, darling, you gotta keep your head up. Make peace with all the women you once were. Lay flowers at their feet. Offer them incense and honey and forgiveness. Honor them and give them your silence. Listen.
Vai zicar toilette. بعد احطه في الكغة toilette.
Beautiful people, Dumelang Habu. Kali talking na Oradile, and I'll be the moderator for the day. A warm welcome to you guys to the path to entrepreneurship and copyright awareness webinar. Slow Sumula, as others are still coming in, welcome and thank you for joining us today. So first things first, we're gonna go over a set of rules for the webinar to make sure program is in. Firstly, please all mute your mics. Let's unmute when you are speaking. Then you feel free to switch off your video. But how do you please switch on your video and start by introducing yourself first. If you have any questions or comments as the facilitators are speaking, don't qualify or note them down in the comment section. We'll get to them, gather question and answer session at the end of the presentation. Otherwise, please do remember to be respectful in interaction and be kind. Use the feature raising your hand if you have a question or any comment. But like I said, keep them for the question and answer session by the webinar. Otherwise, please do participate. We're here to have fun and here to learn. Coming up first, we have our facilitator, Lerato Mileng, taking us through the Authorprenuership, right? So I'm gonna give the floor to her now. and then she'll introduce herself and then take us through the session. Remember to have notebooks in your pen to take notes. It's super important for you guys after the webinar and for your career. Lerato Mileng is an author, she's a publisher, and she's the founder of the past webinar. She's also the founder of the Future Focus Festival, which is the initiative assisting the webinar we have here today. So yeah, I don't know how we're gonna welcome her, but if you can please just unmute your mics for now and give her a round of applause as she sends. Thank you. Mami Leng, the floor is yours.
Sure. Okay, mic check. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Oratile, and welcome to everybody who's joining us or who has joined us on this webinar. Brought to you by Bokonebo Perima Literature Focus Festival, powered by Rato Million Media, National Arts Council, Madinokana Oshun, and the South African Arts and Culture Youth Forum. So, okay. So I will be taking you through the path to authorpreneurship, and later on we will have a facilitator that will join us who will also go through copyright awareness. Okay. And my name, like Oratile said, is Lerato Mileng, and I'm your facilitator for this presentation. So, okay, let's first start by going through the overview of the webinar or this presentation, right? So out of this presentation, where I'll be taking you through the path to authorpreneurship, we hope, or I hope, that this presentation will help you as the author or aspiring author to gain with guidance. We'll take you through this path and give you guidance, clear guidance on what is an authorpreneurship, and give you practical tools, that will help you transform at least your idea into a successful published book. And then the key takeaways that you can take out of this presentation, or that we hope that you take home, is to have a basic understanding of what is the role of an authorpreneurship and how to develop and validate your idea into a book. I aim that you learn the basic writing techniques and be able to explore various publishing options and distribution options, so you can get to choose which one will best be suitable for you. Okay. And then also, if you could learn the basic marketing and marketing strategies and how to reach your audience, right? The overall outcome is for you to be in a position where you gain basic knowledge and tools that are needed for you to successfully write and ideally self-publish your own work and effectively market it in order to reach your target audience, all right? So let's look at a high-level syllabus of this whole presentation. So we are going to unpack the role of authorpreneurship. We're going to look at idea development. We are going to look at content creation, publishing, brand development, marketing, and distribution at high level. These are very these are subjects on their own, and they also need to be explored individually. So I have packaged them at high level to give you a basic insight of what they are. But I also implore you to go beyond this webinar to learn more on each and every step that is needed for you to become, or to prepare yourself to become, or to successfully become an authorpreneurship, right? Or authorpreneur, sorry. So, okay, let me start by introducing myself, just to buy myself some credibility so you can trust that you are in the right hands. You're in the hands of somebody who's walked the path, and now they can actually be in a position to talk the talk or preach the message. So I'm Lerato Mileng, aka Ratomil, Madinokana Oshun. That is my pen name. And I'm basically, this is a very compact or concise summary of my background. I'm a multiple published author, I'm a publisher, and I'm a writer-producer. I'm also a certified facilitator. I also do mentorship. I'm a festival curator, founder of Bokone Bophirima Literature Focus Festival, which is hosting this webinar. And I also founded Bakwadi Writers Development Incubator. And overall, I'm also a holistic wellness practitioner. As you can, if you would pay attention, most of my work relies around that. It talks about writing, the literary arts, storytelling, as well as the wellness part of it, how we can, get to empower ourselves holistically and be in where we can transform our lives using these creative elements, basically, in summary. So with this webinar, I'm also low-key launching my book called Writing and Beyond, which is a guide to transformative writing. It talks about what I just said, using the potential within the art or craft of writing to self-develop or self-empower yourself. Whether you are looking to self-discover, whether you are seeking a form of healing, whether you want to just improve your writing or creativity, this book talks about all that, how writing can be used far beyond the mere aspect of communication and also storytelling. It can be harnessed to also consciously improve our lives. So let me read a quote from this book. By harnessing the power of writing, we become active participants in our own transformation, shaping our destiny with intention and purpose. In my opinion, out of experience, observation, and research, there is far more to writing that we are being taught, that we have explored, or that hasn't really been explored. So let's take our time as writers or aspiring writers to really, really drill deep into this act or into this practice or this art, and make sure that we actually harness the most out of its potential to empower ourselves. So allow me to play this trailer for the book for you.
What if writing could change your life? Discover the power of the written word to unlock your deepest truths and unleash your creativity. This isn't just another self-help book. It's your guide to self-discovery and growth through writing, with practical exercises, insightful reflections, and invaluable techniques. This book is designed to help you refine your writing and transform your life, drawing from years of experience and research. The author provides tools for writers of all levels. Empower your voice, unlock your potential, and transform through writing. Begin your journey today. Available now.
Great. How do I move forward? Okay. All right. So before we go into the actual lesson, let us break the ice. Allow me to just engage you with an icebreaker so you can, relax and feel at home as well. And be comfortable to engage, to really open yourself to receive the insight that will be shared as well. So I invite you to think of a book that has helped you in your writing or business journey or just life in general. This book could be around writing, marketing, entrepreneurship, or anything at all. What book has helped you shift your life or transform your life in summary? I invite you to just type the name of the book in the chats. And if you remember the author, the name and the author as well, let us share that information, and maybe someone within the group will also be interested in the book that has helped you transform your life. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't see the chats. Okay, there they are. Great. Please keep them coming. So far, we have one. I'm sure as writers, we are readers as well, because those two are married. You cannot be a writer and not be a reader. I'm patient. Just feel free, share any book that has helped shape your life, transform your life, or just shifted you, to want to do better. The Alchemist is a great book. Okay, so keep them coming throughout. If it comes to you, you can always share. Allow me to do this, right? Can I select one person from the two that have shared? Okay, let me make it open. Those that have shared, even those that haven't shared, please, can one of you just unmute yourself and share why? Let me do this. Either share this in 30 seconds, 2 minutes max. Why did you find this book valuable to you? Or what is the key takeaway you took out of the book? Or how has this book influenced your life or your work currently? You can answer either one of those questions, or both of them, or all of them.
Hi, can I jump in?
Yes, please, Haone.
With me, this book by Chika Onyani, The Capitalist Nigger. It highlights some fundamentals with regards to our relationship with money as Africans. He delves in deep as to why is it that in most cases, us as Africans, we find ourselves struggling with managing the little money that we have. And the comparison that he makes, he compares our relationship with money with our counterparts, our Arabian counterparts and our Indian counterparts, how they engage with money. Throughout the book, he exhibits how they use a concept called a spiderweb doctrine, whereby when money circulates within the Arabian community, being it, let's say, for example, I'm Khawne, I'm trying to build myself a house. I have some savings that I have here, and I'm willing to spend on resources. I'm willing to spend on labor. I'm willing to spend on architecture to buy land. When an Arab is in the same position, they would find themselves actually looking for other Arabs that can come and contribute to this particular project that he has. But with us from the African diaspora, in most cases, we would take money out of our community and give it to other. You'd find yourself consulting a Caucasian engineer. You'd find yourself consulting an Arab architect. You'd find yourself even going further. Like, I hope you do not mind. Nna ke le Gaone, ke Motswana, ke nna mo Mafikeng, but you'd find me going out of Mafikeng, like there is a concept whereby our brothers from Zimbabwe, they have dominated the construction industry, whereby most yes, as I close. So that is the key takeaway that I've taken from the book, the spiderweb doctrine, and it has influenced my relationship with money in closure.
Okay. Awesome. So basically, in summary, the spiderweb doctrine is the main aspect that you take out of the book that actually you brought home to self to influence how you operate and work with money or relate with money. In summary, are you with me? Awesome. And have you seen any shift since you have taken that lesson and lived by it or implemented it?
Let's say I'm still learning. What I'm doing, I'm empowering those that are close within my circle so that we can be in a position whereby we actually share resources. Like professionally, I'm a marketer, and those around me, they know I dish out marketing advice to them so that they can get to a level whereby they can also share their unique skills with me. So there's the little that happens with the spiderweb doctrine.
Awesome. And then, okay, I thank you for sharing, Khawne. Is there anyone else? Awesome. Is there anyone else who would like to share about their book? One last person. Okay. Yes, Tshireletso. Do you want to? Greetings.
Are you good?
Yes. I am personally good, and I hope you're all good in this webinar.
Yes. So I'm an author who is based on psychological books and educational books. So recently I have published my second edition book, which will be utilized around educational sectors. So the name of the book, the first edition, is called Code Your Mind with Success. Normally it talks about how to accumulate your own success. I believe we all have different successes according to the basic premises of this. So my second edition is called Matrix Mindset. So right now, like my direction with these books is into educational sectors. So I'm so privileged and honored to come here and have this conversation with this facility.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I like how you take the opportunity, seize the moment. Your book sounds interesting, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I have sent some book on the chat. You can just review them and have a chat.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Later on, we'll get to that place where I communicate information on how you can maybe contact us if you want to share any information or work with us, or if you need us to help you promote your work and whatsoever. Like working towards building a community, of writers, authors, and publishers, so we can support each other from this movement, Bokoni Bophirima Literature Focus Festival. Thanks for sharing. We'll communicate later on that. All right. Allow me to utter these words. I invite you to be open-minded, open-hearted, open-spirited, so you can be able to receive the insight and be able to be comfortable enough to ask questions, share your insight as well. We are here to learn from each other. So if you have anything to share, given the time frame that we have, we'll open that opportunity for you to share. Even as we engage, that's how we will also be learning from each other. So I will not just be doing the talking. I will also be inquiring from you as well, to also get insight from you, to also see if we are together in understanding or in inner standing. So I would like us to really engage, be in one spirit, in simple terms. So we are officially going into the lesson. So we are going to start here. I've heard a lot of people, using this phrase, and I believe everybody who's in this webinar is a writer in their own way, or at least an aspiring writer. So in your opinion, anyone can raise their hand. Dile, you will help me with that because I don't see the raised hand. You can raise your hand and just share with us, in your understanding, your experience, your opinion, what is a writer? Is there anyone willing to share their understanding?
Hi, my name is Liesel, and I take you to the floor.
Okay,
What is a
welcome.
writer for me? A writer for me is because I am an aspiring writer, because I want to write also a book, my own book. And the reason why I chose Advocate Leslie Moore's book, because he writes about his upbringing and how he came from where he is now. And for me, what to write is you write to a certain audience, your kind of audience. It's for me. As a podcaster, as a previous radio presenter, you speak to the audience and how your audience receives the topic or the discussion that you have on your platform. And if there is an interest, then you continue with it so that people will fall in love with you as a person. That's my understanding as a writer. What is a writer? Thank you.
Okay. Basically, it's expressing yourself and sharing information or communicating something through the act of writing, presenting yourself to your audience through the act of writing. In summary, if I get you, it's how you engage and communicate with your audience, with your people. So, so basically that's correct. Writing serves as a form of communication, transferring a message from one to another in written form. It can be transferred in various mediums, blogs, articles, and even on social media, in books, and so on. Tshireletso, I saw your hand. Now, in this webinar, let me highlight that we are going to focus on books, particularly writing books. Now, Tshireletso, you can come through by sharing. Are you still there? Okay, I'm going to move on. I am going to move on. So, basically, in my opinion, yes.
Okay, I actually raised my hands earlier on.
Oh, Sibongile, not Tshireletso. Thank you.
So for me, the way I understand the writer, so I actually, my understanding is for a writer is anybody who has maybe a set message to communicate to a particular audience, whether it can be just for entertainment, it can be for teaching something or creating awareness. Is so you document that through, like, in this platform, obviously through a book, but anybody can write from anywhere. That's my understanding of a writer.
Okay.
Your opinion basically about, like, because in your writing, like, every person only point of view putting across whatever topic in your own voice, the way you understand it, point of view
Okay. Awesome. It's almost similar to what the other lady, sorry I didn't get your name, was saying. It's a sense of communication, sending through a message. Liesel, thank you again. So I see another hand. I'm taking one last hand. Khaone, let's hear if you have something different to say.
Thank you for allowing me to deposit my thoughts also. Writing, I'm inspired by one great writer, the great Solomon Seki Soplaki, whom in an uncommon time during the Great Anglo-Boer War, he was one of a few black men that were keeping a journal and actually depositing his thoughts, his experiences, and his views into his journal. By saying so, if you have a diary or if you have a book and you are just one to deposit your thoughts, to express yourself through pen and paper, by virtue you are a writer. You need not be endorsed by a publisher. You need not be endorsed by a particular class or by a particular academics. But if you possess the ability to can deposit your thoughts onto paper and actually share them with the next person, then you are a writer in my books. Thank you.
That's an interesting perspective. It's appreciated. It's a reminder to also every one of us that, by virtue that you are able to put pen to paper and communicate your thoughts, your inner world, your feelings, you are to say that, or you can say that you are rightfully a writer. Now, thank you. I'm taking that with me as well. So all your responses are correct, right? But I would invite you to also look at writing this way. In simple terms, it's an art, a literary art, of arranging visible letters, characters, symbols into a sensible form to serve in a manner that communicates or expresses a message. if I'm making sense. So mostly we tend to forget that writing is an art, or we see it as a secondary art. Or, when we talk about art, creativity, most people will go to music, visual arts, and but writing somewhere comes at the end somewhere or behind. So I want you to start looking at writing as an art, as a creative expression. I believe that if you start looking at it that way, operating with it from that perspective, then you give it connects you to something higher than yourself. It also places you in a position where you are able to connect to or express yourself in a more creative way. So with that said, when we say writing is a literary art, therefore you as a writer are an artist. Simple as that. You are someone who is dedicated to master this literary art, or you should be. You should be somebody who dedicates their time and energy to mastering this art. Writing is a channel of communicating something unseen, forming it into a tangible thing that can be seen. You're communicating something that's within you, something that you are feeling, something that you are thinking, your inner world, and expressing it in a way that is tangible and can be seen, touched, or read. That's my advice. Like, look at it as something beyond or higher than just an activity. Take it a step further than just a mere form of communication. Yes, you want to communicate, but what exactly do you want to communicate? Where is it coming from? What does it mean to you? And what do you think it will mean to the receiver? So it's a dance between the inner world and the outer world. So making it a form of art. So if you can just then within yourself recognize yourself as an artist, who is gifted, or because some are naturally born with a gift, because in my opinion, writing is a calling. So some are naturally born with this purpose or calling or gift. Some need to go an extra step or mile to learn the craft, which is good. So if you take that or take it like that within yourself, then for me, in my opinion, you would have done yourself justice. You would be in a position where you are able to convey authentic message that are purpose aligned. So with that said, I've highlighted that in this webinar, we are going to look at particularly writing of books. Right. Then that's where we start looking at authorpreneur. Now, I'm sure you've been hearing this word. What does it mean? But we can see that it's a coming together of two roles, author and entrepreneur. And now, how do they come together, or what does the marriage of author and entrepreneur look like? That's what we are going to unpack. So in simple terms, an authorpreneur is somebody an authorpreneur is somebody who turns their literary passion and creativity into a thriving business. Yes, you are a writer, but now you need to take it a step further into turning your writing into a business, a thriving business. But I also need to take a step back and highlight that most writers or authors, I'm going to now use the phrase authors, most authors write their book, Mainly because, yes, they want to share their story or share a particular message, but one of also the main important reason is to earn from their book, to ideally make a living from their book, or to get something in return, mostly monetary. Therefore, making the book a product. And once you create that product, and then with an intention to sell it, and then get profit out of it, I mean, that's a business model. I mean, you are already an entrepreneur by virtue that you have a book, which is a product, and you with an intention to sell it and earn out of it. So already authorpreneurship is not something far from what we have been doing. It's not far-fetched. It's not that you have to now do some, okay, yes, there needs to be some shifts for you to start looking at yourself and operating as an official authorpreneur, but nothing far from where you are already as an author. With that said, basically, an authorpreneur is an author who takes an entrepreneurial approach to their career consciously. Now you know that you need to operate from an entrepreneurial state of mind, right? And therefore, you need to now be in a position where you can create content and dedicate your time to be able to manage your project, to market it, and be able to monetize it. Treating this whole process or your book or your writing as a thriving business or as an official business. So it involves the creation, the creative process. It involves the brand. You need to now be in a position where you brand yourself. And you need to be in a position where you officially operate as an entrepreneur. Those are the three main elements that make up an authorpreneur. So let's look at basic characteristics of an authorpreneur. You have to be creatively inclined, or be able to, create. That is your story, your book, and, be able to, how do I want to put it? That creative process, you have to be able to do it. Create your book, make sure that the covers are designed and all those things. You have to have business acumen. You have to be business minded. If you are naturally not, you can learn. This is something that you can learn. There's workshops, there's trainings, there's courses, there's YouTube, the information is everywhere. You can really dedicate your time to really learn and build this entrepreneurship mindset within yourself. You need to be self-motivated. You need to be able to push yourself every day to get up and go and push your brand, push your book, push your hustle. You need to be able to network, right? Be able to communicate your interests, your needs, link with people who can guide you, direct you, support you, or just give you what you need at that particular moment. Be able to negotiate, for yourself. Even from the business aspect of things, you need to be able to be adaptable. We are living in a digital age. Things are evolving. There's changes, there's new things all the time. You need to be in a position to always know what is the latest trends, what is out there, and adjust your strategy, your brand, basically your whole strategy based on what is current and what is in alignment with who you are, your brand, your message. You need to be resilient. The journey is not easy for all of us. You need to be in a position to always keep moving, keep pushing. You need to be a strategic thinker, be able to strategize on how are you going to access your market? How are you going to put your book out there? How are you going to navigate this entrepreneurial or entrepreneurial process or journey? And of course, you need to be tech savvy. Digital age, we are in, everything is technology these days, and we can leverage technology to benefit us as writers, us as authors. There is AI now taking over the world by storm. We can use AI to benefit us. So you need to be able to know which of these, tech things that are out there that you can use to support your growth or support your business. And then just a few benefits of why being an authorpreneur is important or can, help you or transform your life. You have full creative control of, your book, your brand, and authority. You can, what is it? What is the word? You can, the word has escaped me, so I'm going to move on. Oh, you can seek counsel, but at the end of the day, you are the decision maker, Income diversification, this is the exciting part of entrepreneurship, whereby you can place yourself in a position where you earn multiple streams from your book. You can create a book, sell it. You can become a speaker talking about the message in your book. You can also start producing merchandise in relation to your book, or not just particularly your book, but the message that you are communicating as a brand, And there's much more options as well that you need to employ yourself to research on how can you diversify your income. In what other ways can you make revenue out of your book or yourself as the brand? And then, yes, having mentioned brand, you need to be in a position to build a brand identity. As an author, you have to have an author brand. I don't know if you have paid attention. In today's times, just writing a book alone is not enough. Only a few people can thrive with that, just writing a book and selling it, and that's it. Not or going through a traditional publisher and then that's it. Only a few people can thrive. The rest of us, we have to now tap into this role of entrepreneurship, which in my opinion is the evolution of author. It's like now author evolving into something much more bigger than itself that is suitable or relevant in today's time. So we need to be in a position where we develop our brand as author. Brand development is very important, and it's a module on itself. It's a workshop on itself because there's so much that goes in within it. But basically, it's just you finding your voice and how you package it to, connect with your niche or your market, how you identify yourself within the whole masses. It's important. It's like, for instance, see how these big brands have identified themselves. Coca-Cola, when you see it, you already know that, oh my God, this is Coca-Cola. When you see the name, when you see the branding, you already know they have done that for years. They have built a strong brand. So you also need to build a brand voice, a brand identity. Already when we see certain colors or a certain logo, we already know that this is the person who's speaking, or this is who we are going to expect. We are working on it with Bokoni Bophirima Literature Focus Festival. Already when you see certain colors, you know that, or certain avatar, you already know that, oh, it's that festival or this people. So beyond just this workshop, pay attention of what's out there. How are other authors are building their brands? What are those key elements? What is trending and what's not? What is working and what's not? And basically, who is your market and what interests them? So I would invite you to also take an opportunity to study or attend or research further on brand development, particularly author brand development. And then there's career flexibility. I mean, you are in charge of your own schedule. So as you are the entrepreneur, you are your own boss. Market insights, you are in a position where you connect directly with the market. You need to firsthand know about your market. Who's your market? What are they interested in? What do they want? And so on. Understand their preferences and understand how your book or your message, your brand aligns with that. Business growth, you have this the authority or the responsibility to expand your business as far as you possibly can. And through strategic partnerships, sometimes we need to understand that growing, we need to connect. If we want to grow as a business, as a brand, you need to make certain connections and relationships or partnerships. For instance, if you can see on our logo, we have, for example, on our poster, for example, we have Sarchive. So we understand that Sarchive is a strong movement that advocates for artists' development and opportunities within the country. That also aligns with our objective as Bokoni Bophirima Literature Festival focus. Therefore, making Sarchive an ideal partner to connect with or have an agreement or partnership with. And then we understand that already they have a strong followership. And we would like our message or whatever that we are bringing in to have reach. Now, it makes sense to also partner with such a great movement or big movement so that we can also reach that mass audience. So those are the kind of mindsets that you also need to tap into on how you can expand your reach, how you can expand your business, your message. What are the role players that are out there that align with your goal or your message that you can engage or connect with, and how best to do that. Professional development, you need to always be in a position to learn or want to learn. Learning never ends. It only ends if you die. Even with that, probably arguable. So continuous learning, continuous research, continuous workshops, courses, Google, whatever that you need to know to keep yourself relevant and up to date. Okay. So as we move on, we are going to look at now idea development, story development, writing plan, and content creation. So I have a feeling I can pause here and maybe take one or two questions for clarity on what I have shared before I move on to another section. So feel free to raise your hand. Unless there are questions in the chat room. In the chat, let me see. Okay, there's no questions. Someone has unmuted themselves. Do they want to share? Do they want to ask anything? Okay. In absence of questions, I will take that all is clear. All right. I would like to gift you with what I call GPS coordinates to authorpreneurship. Or writing in general. So when you embark on your process or your journey of writing, I would like you to go in within yourself and inquire, or in self-inquiry. Firstly, ask yourself, why do you want to write a book? I will go back to that exercise, the icebreaker that we did, where I asked you which book has inspired you, has transformed your life, has did all this great things for you, given you, insight to take back to self and make a shift. That is the main purpose, or that is the one most important purpose of writing any book. It needs to shift the reader somehow. It needs to teach you a valuable lesson that can shift your life somehow, in any way or another. It can be the smallest or the biggest sense. That's why we are writing books, or we should be writing books. Most of us, we want to write books because we want to tell our story. That's great. We want to share a story. But why is it important that your story needs to be shared or be told? Why must I read your story? How will it benefit me? So that's the level of self-inquiry that you need to drill down to. Why do I want to tell this story? Mind you, even the greatest story, even if it's a great story, not every story is worth being told into a book. You can always blog it. You can always post on Facebook or create. I've seen great content shared there where people are now sharing stories, chapter by chapter, or however they break it down. And people are engaging and are liking that. All right. But why book particularly? And you need to find an answer within yourself. Nobody will tell you why. It's within yourself. You need to find an answer that is rich enough to keep you going. Whenever you feel like, I'm not inspired, or it's tough, or whatever, you need to go back to that why. And that why should be rich enough to fuel you to want to push more. Now, you need to know or ask yourself, okay, fine. This is why I want to write this book, but who am I writing it for? Who am I expecting to receive this message? This is now when you start now coming out of yourself to decipher that within yourself that you want to share. Does it have an ear to listen? Does it have an audience rather? And who are this audience? Market research. That's where now you start doing the market research. That, okay, who is interested in this type of message? Look at market trends and all these beautiful tools that technology has for us right now, or is offering us right now. Do your market analysis and understand who are your people. It's not enough to just want to tell your story. You need to know who is your people. Have an idea. You might not know in depth, but have an idea, that will help you in how you package your story. And then from there, you ask yourself, what do I want? What do I know about them? Okay, you know that they love romantic stories. They love maybe some comedy aspect of things, of storytelling, or they have a taste of comedy, or they have a taste of romance as a genre. And maybe these are spiritually inclined people or business inclined people or people who are interested in the economy. You need to understand who are these people and be authentic. Is authentic the right word? Be truthful to yourself of how much do you know about them. Do you know enough? If not, find out. Learn more about them. Go to a point of actually even making something as basic as a quiz, and then post it, asking particular questions in alignment to your book or the message that you want to share, and post the quiz, share it, and then see the type of responses that you get. There are so many ways to kill a cat, basically. There are so many ways where you can start, learning your people. Start asking questions. You know the people that you can pick up or decipher people who are your people, who carry a similar mindset as you. But also decipher, do you want to go beyond those people? And if so, how do you adjust yourself or your message to go beyond those people? Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I'm clear enough. But if I'm not, feel free to get clarity. I'll ask for clarity. Sorry about the background noise. And then we can move on to how. How will it serve? How will my book serve myself as the writer? And how will it serve my people or the people I want to connect with or communicate this message to? Be honest with yourself. This is where we also decipher, is your book worth being told, or is your story worth being told through a book? Typically, most in my belief, sorry. Okay. What I believe is that the messages that we often carry, if we don't want to basically educate, we want to enlighten, right? Or remind. So in which category is your message? And how will it benefit the receiver, your market, your people? So you break it down for yourself, authentically, truthfully. And that's where you get to ask yourself, or maybe, do I really need to write a book to communicate this? And then I'll get to the sweet spot. So the overarching or the main reason why it is important that we keep writing books is to continue or keep the spirit of reading and writing alive. Books are a way that we also archive information, that we also build written legacies with. We know that social media and all the other things keep evolving, keep changing. Tomorrow it's old news and so on. So books are the one thing that never really dies. The trend of reading might slow down, but it will never really die. So that is one main thing that writing a book makes it significant. But is your story in alignment? Is it worth telling, or can it be just blogged, shared in other means, and still your people will still find you. Maybe the type of people that you have, instead of reading books, they are bloggers. They just want to read blogs, quick article, and they receive the message, they receive the insight, they receive the reminder. So be in that mindset. Always go in inquiry before you even take a step further. So now, when we look at where is the sweet spot, we are talking about how does your voice, your desire to tell your story, connect or meet with the needs of your identified market. I know most writers, or especially aspirant writers, they want to tell their story. That's all that they know. You want to tell your story. You have a beautiful story. Sometimes it's even a life story, and that's all you know. But that's not enough. That's not enough. Like I said, you need to know where the message is going. You need to know your people, identify your people, and understand them. Know them enough to be able to package that story that you want to tell in a way that they are willing to receive it, in a way that they will understand it, they will comprehend it, they will enjoy it, they will appreciate it. And that's where we're saying the meeting point or the sweet spot, where now your desire, your voice meets or is in alignment with your market interest. So you have to think around that territory, the sweet spot, that this is my story. I want to tell it. How do I package it so that these particular people that you have identified as your target market can receive it in a way that they are willing to receive it or works for them. Okay, so always have this in mind. So we are going to look at idea development. Like I said, every idea is worth being developed into a story, or can be developed into a story, but not necessarily that every idea is worth being developed into a book. And another thing that I learned when I did some workshop that I attended or training that I attended, I talked about story development. The first thing that was said, an idea is not a story. That was so mind-blowing. Like, it really shook me, and I know a lot of other people who were there, because we have these great ideas and we feel like we have a story, but it's not necessarily a story. Maybe not yet. There are some processes that need to take place before we can deem your idea into a story or say that, okay, now you have a story. So now let's look at, okay, I'm gonna skip here. Before we get into idea development thoroughly, I advise you to really go within and find your voice. Find your voice. You have a beautiful idea. How can you now communicate this idea? How can you convey it in a way that can be received or well received? So I'm going to quote from my book, Writing and Beyond. Allow your purpose to guide you as you navigate the complexities of the writing process, empowering you to share your voice and make a positive impact through your words. I highlight the word purpose. The messages that we sometimes are hungry to tell, it's not because we just want to. There's always that inner push or inner desire that, sometimes makes us feel unease. You're always itching, I know that's what what a book can do to you. I want to tell my story. I want to tell my story. Something is pushing you. You can't even explain it yourself. But in most cases, if you know your purpose, you will understand. You'll be able to align that desire, that story, to why you want to tell it and how you can tell it. So let's break down. This is a model that I developed on how you can just simplify the process of idea development for yourself. So, okay, at first you wake up with this great idea. Maybe you dreamt something interesting, and then poof, it then develops into an idea, or feels like, okay, this could be a good story to tell. Or like I said, you have a push to really tell your story. It could be a life story, right? What do you do now? What's next? How do you move forward? You have to go through the idea development. Okay, so I've slotted in an important step that was not there first. Okay, this is my idea, and this is how I think I want to tell it. I want to put it into a book. But you go out and do your research, your observation on, is this an interesting subject? You know, would people want to, or are people talking about or reading about or are interested in such a subject, you know? And whatever you come out of there or get out of that process, then you work with it from a point or an angle of the sweet spot. Your voice, their interest. So once you go through a process of idea development, right? From idea development, then you can have what we call a story. We will break down idea development. And then from there, you have what we call a story idea. And then from there, you can then develop that story further into now where you start now breaking it down into chapters. This is the first chapter. It will talk about this, second chapter, third chapter, just the whole skeleton of the book. And then from there, then you can start doing your writing plan. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you need to be strategic. You need to have plans. You need to be professional. I know most of writers just write when they feel like it, or write randomly. There is no structure to it. There is no plans. You have to have set times where you put aside deliberately that every day around this time, or I'm going to secure or create this amount of time, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you can afford, minimum 20 minutes. That's really bare minimum to write and work on my book. You have a schedule, you know, that is your schedule. And even you go a step further of also identifying how much do you want to write in that particular time frame. So you have an actual writing plan. And then from there, that's when the content creation starts. Following your writing plan, following the structure that you have developed, following the set guidance from idea development. And then from there, that's where the content creation comes in. And once you have created your content, done your writing, be it for months, sometimes people take years, but in today's world, it can actually be way shorter, given the benefits of what technology is offering us. But also that is a personal preference. How far do you want to engage technology to boost or support your writing? Some people prefer being authentic, doing the writing themselves. Some people prefer, getting the aid of technology. The options are there. It's up to you to really decide. And then from there, you have what we call, or what we can say, a manuscript. So at this level, I know people would come and say, Lerato, I have a book that I want to publish. At this level, it's not a book. As long as it's not published, it is not a book. It's what we call a manuscript. So when we break down, or when we start looking at idea development, we then look into what is this idea? What is it that you want to tell, right? When we break it down, maybe this idea you want to talk about your journey experiencing what? Challenges through life and overcoming them. Okay. You'll be more specific than that. But now, okay, fine, that's the story. Then what is the controlling idea, or what is the message that you want to share out of that story? Before we go to controlling idea, let's look at this first. So, okay, fine, you want to talk about that story. What is the theme of the story? What is the theme? The story talking about, in essence. Okay, the story is talking about, one word, sometimes can be two. It's talking about courage. How I had courage facing the challenges that I've went through and head on and really overcoming them. Okay, great. Courage. So now what do you want people? So because courage is your theme, then your message has to revolve around, or the morale of your story have to revolve around the theme, which is that you have chosen, which is courage, right? So these are the steps. I need you to note them down. Once you have defined the idea for yourself, then you start looking at what is the theme. What is the story talking about? Is it talking about love? Is it talking about faith? Is it talking about victory? Is it talking, what is, in one word, how can you describe your story? Okay, fine. So we have chosen courage, right? From courage, then we take it a step further to say, okay, what do we want to say about courage? What is the story saying about courage? What is the morale of the story? So then you define the morale of the story in a very few words. One line, maximum two. Actually, one line is enough for you to define your story. So what do you want us to know about courage, if I can simplify it? So you can then say, no, with courage, you can conquer everything. That's what you want your story to communicate. That's what you want people to get out of your story. So that after reading your story or your book, they are then encouraged to now have courage to face their struggles. That's the one thing that you want people to take home for themselves. Back to that icebreaker that I did. What did you get out of the story? What insight did you get that helped you transform your life? That is the essence of a book. That's what books are meant to say. They should be life-changing. If your book does not teach anything, put your pen down, put your laptop down, stop writing. If you cannot define the moral of the story, don't write anything until you are able to define the moral of your story. What is it you want to teach people or tell people? Now, and then from there, we can then look at genre. Which is an ideal genre that best suits my story? That also goes back to your writing style. Your writing style fits which type of genre. Your voice fits which type of genre. the people are interested in receiving such a message in which type of genre. Those are the elements you need to look into for you to decide. Okay, a story of courage. It can be a love story if you want, where now you need to reflect courage through the love that is experienced through the story. Is that how you want to package it? Is your writing style suitable for romance? Those are your deciding factors. So now you need to now start understanding the rules of genre, how each genre is written and its expectations, and so on. You also, like in terms of genre interest, you also need to reflect back to yourself on the type of books you like reading. That could also identify your type of writing or your genre of interest. Do you like action? Do you like romance? Or are you more of nonfiction type of writing? Do you want to talk about the economy or politics and reflect real things? You want to talk about spirituality in reflection of your life journey. Those are the elements that you need to consider in deciding which genre to package your story. Some people already know, because you know what, they have identified their writing style, or they know that, okay, I'm interested in this genre, I love this genre, this is how I would like to package my story. Just make sure that that's how this message can be received, or your audience or your market are interested in receiving such a message. I would find it not common, because genre can be broken. You can blend genres, you can break genre rules, but you need to understand them first. You need to learn them first. You need to try and practice them first before you get to a point where now you start breaking the rules. You cannot break rules that you don't know. That's my advice. If so, you need to be very creative to justify your uniqueness. So I hope I'm clear when it comes to idea development. Once you have identified the story you want to tell, we first look at the theme. In one word, how can you describe your story? And then we break down the message or identify the message of the story that we want to tell. We package it in a way that is sensible. Do note that you would have an intention to tell, for your story to carry a certain message, but the reader can receive more than what you intended to. If your story or your book is well written, they can receive more messages or be inspired beyond your anticipation if you well package your book. So yeah, I took the liberty to just bring in AI to the presentation, because really I would not have done justice if I do not highlight the use of AI, as it is taking the world by storm. You can use AI to help you through your journey of writing. For instance, there's ChatGPT. You can inquire, use it to inquire and get clarity beyond your understanding as well. For example, you can then, after identifying that I want to tell a story about, or my story about, overcoming life challenges and blah, blah, blah. You can then take a step further, go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, what theme is this story? Can the story be? Please suggest the themes, ideal themes for such a story. And ChatGPT can list a few themes, and then you then take what resonates. That's just a simple way of how you can use AI to support yourself. There's many others, so I implore you to start researching on the AI tools that are out there that can help you write at this stage of idea development. So there's this structure called the 3X structure that is very useful in developing your story. We have developed an idea. By right, once you have answered these questions, then you have a potential story, right? And then now we need to start breaking down or giving your story structure. We need to now start building your story. I prefer using the 3X structure. There's 4X structures. There's the hero's journey. There's various tools that you can use to develop your story that you have the liberty to go out there and start researching. So the 3X structure basically follows a very basic rules: beginning, middle, and end, right? If you're super creative, you can reshuffle them, but you need to be very creative and brilliant to make it work and not lose your audience. So basically, the first act sets us up into your story. We have identified the idea, the controlling idea, the theme, the genre. Genre has its rules. Now we apply all those things. We follow them in now giving the story structure. First act basically focuses on introducing us to the world of the story. Who's the story about? This is mostly applicable when it comes to fiction. You can apply it in nonfiction depending on what you are writing about. But in general, a story makes sense or makes better sense when it follows a specific structure that has a beginning, middle, and end. So you set us up into the world of the story, where now we get to see where we are through your writing, right? Is your story set up in a rural place, in a futuristic place? Just the overall general look and feel of the world of the story you are taking us into. We get to meet our characters then, particularly the protagonist, what we call the protagonist. Mostly story follows a person, These are rules that can be let me just leave it there. Mostly story follows a person. Now we get to meet this person here and all the supporting characters that are involved. Some can then appear later depending on the role that they are playing. But anyway, we get to meet the world of the story, and then typically within the first act, there needs to be an inciting incident, a call to action. After we have met them, now their journey needs to be incited into the narration that you want to tell us, right? So something needs to happen within the story where their journey is incited. And as they navigate within their journey, the stakes needs to now rise, meaning that this is in the confrontation. This is where we get to second act, where we get to experience a dilemma, some sort of dilemma, a rise in story. This is where the juice is. This is where the meat is, if you're a meat eater. And now, from this angle, we then move to the Act 3X structure. the stakes were rising here. But now if you're following a character, this is now where where they get into a crisis point. They need to be saved. We are rooting for them. We are worried for them. If it's this is you going back to your story of courage. This is where you tell us where you hit rock bottom, where now everything was silence, where you lost everything, where now you felt defeated and you felt like, this is the end for me. This is where we start feeling if we relate, now we start feeling very connected to you and worried for you and rooting for you. This is where you need us to, keep us hooked, that we keep wanting to turn the page and know, in anticipation to know that you will be okay, And then from there, that's where now the crisis, where we start meeting the resolution, where you start overcoming. But now if we're following a character, for instance, you don't just overcome, you need to change. There needs to be a shift. What changed? You need to tell us. What was the shift through your story that enabled you to now start meeting a resolution or overcoming this crisis point? So in your journey of courage, for example, you were here at crisis point. Earlier on, I should have noted that when we're following a character needs to be realistic. They need to have a flaw. And this flaw drives the story. This flaw makes them make certain decisions. And for example, if it's a story of courage and you are maybe you're a shy person, we can say your flaw is shyness. It's not a strong flaw, but let's work with it. You navigate through this journey with your flaw, shyness, right? And then when you get here, you cannot operate anymore. You have lost everything because you're shy. You can't speak for yourself. You can't stand up for yourself. You're just this person. When you get here, there needs to be a shift. Something needs to give. You need to now overcome that flaw where you start speaking up for yourself. Start now going out and looking for opportunities if you are not missing opportunities. Start now acting in a way that, how do I put it? No. You need to have courage now. I get it, you're telling us a story of courage. Now, this is where we start seeing courage kicking in and courage assisting you or being the driving force for you to overcome your challenges and then get into a point where you meet a resolution. So through your journey of strife, so up and downs and all that, we are then seeing you overcoming your shyness or lack of courage by having courage and overcoming. And because stories need to relate, I as a reader going through a similar thing or going through whatever crisis that I have, understanding that I struggle from some sort of inadequacy, could be shyness as well. When I read your story and I see how you had to stand up for yourself and have courage, I should be activated somewhat way to also, start having courage and overcoming my own challenges. That's the essence of storytelling, basically. So this is just the basic, I'm taking you through the basic. 3x structure is it's a beautiful structure. intense, so it needs to be fully studied. Once you understand it, it can help you easily structure your story or build your story. And then through the structure, once you have plotted it, you can then now decipher how you can break down chapters, within following the breakdown of the structure. So because you have the breakdown of your structure, you have your idea of what your story is, you have built the idea into a sensible, story idea, and you know what your story needs to talk about, what message you want to communicate in your story. Then now you can use all those structures that you have built. I know most of people just go into the writing. I will not say it's wrong, it's right. Different strokes for different folks, and sometimes inspiration also kicks in its own ways. But these are tools that can also help you, in giving your story structure and make it make better sense, or make it be digestible. So, okay, with all the structures that you have developed and your schedule, remember your schedule, you are a professional, you write with schedule, you follow your schedule. This is just an example of how you can break down your content. For instance, to take you 4 months to write your first draft. I know people tend to take years to write books, and the longer you take to write your book, for me, you lose it along the way. You lose the essence, you lose the message. Every time you come back, especially if you don't write regularly, you have big gaps in between. Every time you come back, you always have to now work extra hard to reconnect to what you were trying to say in the first place. So it's always ideal to really dedicate time and invest yourself in the writing until completion. And time frame differs for everyone, but let's say that one page is 250 words, and you dedicate yourself to write 250 words per day based on your schedule, right? This can give you 120 pages worth of a book or manuscript within 4 months, approximately making it about 30,000 words or more. So if you want to do it shorter, you can write more, more words, or increase your time of writing. And also talking about going back to AI, they are writing tools now. They are writing apps or softwares, one would question the authenticity, would question a lot of things, but I'm just making you aware. It's for you to decide and honor your choice. One will question whether is it authentic? Well, you can write using AI and you can actually sell the book, but will it be representing your voice? It's upon you. Some people use it and then refine it. I would advise, if you choose to use it, refine certain things. Don't just copy and paste exactly what's there or what comes out of it. Make sure that it represents the message. You didn't lose the essence of what you are trying to say, because AI is not human. AI written content often lacks the spirit, the human element. So you have the duty to bring that human element, the spirit, the authenticity of your voice as well if you use it. So Some people have written using AI a book, a full book within a month, in a few weeks. It's very possible. You have to employ yourself to explore what's out there and how you can use it to benefit you without compromising your brand, your voice, your authenticity as well. So these are the few apps that I just gathered together that are out there, that are writing focused, that authors are using or authors can use to assist their work. All right. So I'm just gonna play this video so we can have a brief breather before we continue.
What if writing could change your life? Discover the power of the written word to unlock the deepest truths and unleash your creativity. This isn't just another self-help book. It's your guide to self-discovery and growth through writing, with practical exercises, insightful reflections, and invaluable techniques. This book is designed to help you refine your writing and transform your life, drawing from years of experience and research. The author provides tools for writers of all levels. Empower your voice, unlock your potential, and transform through writing. Begin your journey today. Available now.
Okay. Okay. This is one burning subject. You know, a lot of people are really hungry for this element or this stage of the process. So let's dive in. So, what is publishing? So basically, publishing in the book industry, because publishing is broad, is a process of turning a manuscript into a finished book. Remember, I said that when you have not published, you do not have a book, you have a manuscript. So have that in mind. If you're gonna sit with that manuscript for years, don't be saying, I have a book, I have a book. You have a manuscript. Now, it also includes marketing, distribution, and connecting the book to the readers or your market, whether done by a traditional publisher or through self-publishing, and also due to the digital age, the e-publishing, which also form part of self-publishing. So we have options now. For the longest time, the market has been narrowed, where we could only go through traditional publishing. And we all know it's not easy to access traditional publishing. So now things have evolved. Self-publishing is growing, and most or a lot of authors are finding a solution in self-publishing, taking matters into their hands, publishing their own work, making them authorpreneurs. So these are the known or common types of publishing that are out there. We have traditional publishing, which is mostly established organizations. You know, there's big organizations. They do everything for you. You just submit your manuscript. Normally, they would have a call out, and then you submit your manuscript if it aligns to what they are asking for, and then the manuscripts go through a selection process. If your manuscript has made it, great. They will make you sign a contract, and then from there, they will take care of everything. They'll take care of the marketing, the printing, the designs, the editing, everything. But now, going back to the contract, that would mean that since they're taking care of everything, in most cases, you give away the rights of your book to get royalties. Now then, we have also self-publishing, which is a fast-growing alternative. You know, that's where you as an author oversee the entire process, take care of everything. You cover your own costs. You're responsible for your own, for the editing, the printing, the marketing, the distribution, everything, right? That's where the authorpreneur operates in. And then, of course, publishing, that's where the publishing happens online, in a digital platform, right? So if we can just put them side by side. Oh my word, sorry about that. If we can just put them side by side and compare them. With creative control, through a traditional publisher, you have no creative control. As soon as you submit your manuscript, you are in control of basically nothing. They decide on the look, on the feel. Very few cases they can consult you, but at the end of the day, when they do, the final decision is based or relies on them. And then with self-publishing, you have 100% creative control. In publishing, which is another form or a digital form of self-publishing, you have 100% creative control, rights and royalties. They differ. With traditional publishing, you can get 7% out of the royalties of your work, sometimes up to 25%. If you are in a position to negotiate for yourself, you can do that, but typically that's the benchmark of the percentages. And then from there we have self-publishing, where you have 100% rights and royalties unless you strike certain agreements with certain role players that you might bring in to assist you. But generally you would have 100% rights and royalties to your work. E-publishing, depending on the platform you are using, you might get 35% to 70%. For instance, on Amazon, what do you call it? Kindle Direct, you only get if you're gonna publish there, you get a percentage around this threshold of your work. The rest is, goes to the publishing side for the admin costs, depending on the mode of publishing that you have selected. If you can do print on demand. Okay, let me not get to print on demand. Let's talk about, here we're looking at, or should I? Okay, you can have an option of print on demand where you publish your book on Amazon, for example, and then choose an option where people can order your book. You upload a soft copy, of your book on the site when you publish. And then people can print on demand, meaning when I purchase your book, then the Amazon prints it and then send it to me. It's no cost to the author, but because of that process, then you only get a certain percentage, because another percentage or the other percentage goes into the printing process and such kind of costs. I hope I'm clear. So you have an option to publish ebooks where somebody can buy your book and then they receive it as an ebook or soft copy type of thing. There's an option of print on demand where you uploaded a soft copy, but when somebody purchases, they can get an actual book. Can be a paperback or a hardcover, depending on the setups that you have arranged. So when it comes to turnaround time, traditional publishing takes long. It takes approximately 6 to 24 months. And then when it comes to self-publishing, approximately, it can be less, it can be more, 3 to 6 months, depending on your dedication, your how you administer your work. And then e-publishing can take a few days, even a day. It's a matter of just, okay, when it comes to considering, let's say hypothetically you have edited, designed, and all those things. All you need to do is just a few hours or few minutes, upload, set up on the online site, and then publish. And then it can have a waiting period depending on the site, not more than 24 hours. And then the next day, your book can be live. So these are the options that you have. You just need to now start looking into what works best for you and then deciding. You can have a hybrid. You can have this option and this option together. Now looking at the market, with traditional publishing, it differs depending on the deal that you got and their reach. They can give you local reach or, distribute and market your book on a local market or international. Self-publishing, mostly they have, most authors have local reach, but if you really have the drive and the strategic, the right strategy, you can go beyond local and, get your book to reach an international market. With e-publishing, really, the sky is the limit. You can reach a global market. Your marketing strategy is the one that will decipher how far your book is going or can go. And then binding agreements. With traditional publishing, it's fully binding. I guess there might be exceptions, but the general note is fully binding. When you have signed, you've given away your rights, you agreed on a percentage. These are the processes that are going to take place. And the contract is live for so many months or years. That's it. If you feel like you want to get out of it, then you have a problem. If you are not happy, then you have a problem. With self-publishing, it's flexible. Self-publishing, you can bind yourself if you want, because you have the control of the whole process. Minor bindings would be maybe when you bring in an editor and then you have a certain agreement with an editor and you're bound to that agreement with that particular editor, So it's for you to decide how far you really want to bind yourself or operate, or how certain agreements will benefit you and your book. And then with e-publishing, there's limited binding depending on the site. Certain sites will have certain regulations that you need to accept before publishing on their site. So gatekeeping, in my opinion, traditional publishing has a lot of gatekeeping. Not a lot of people can access it. And it's still old school, in my opinion. So self-publishing, there is no gatekeeping. the sky is the limit. You are the decider of how far you want to go. Where do you want to enter? Just do your research and then start working on it. You don't have to depend on someone, basically. The one key thing that would hold you at ransom is the editing, because that is the most critical part. The rest, if you really apply yourself, you can manage them by yourself. For instance, a cover. If you really learn how to use platforms such as Canva, you can design your own cover if you apply yourself. So it really needs somebody who has the drive and has the time and energy to learn certain skills and apply themselves to the process and that they learn. E-publishing also is very flexible and open. There is not much, or there is no gatekeeping really. So looking at editing, there's various stages of editing. This is the most important aspect of publishing. Yes, we see the design, the cover, and all that. But you can publish a beautiful book, but when it's not properly edited, then you have shot yourself in the foot. That's one expense you should be willing to spend on. You should always be willing to spend on or align yourself with the right people who can support you or help you through this process. If you know good people who are good with linguistics, if you have a network of editors, always have a network of people. If you are within the space where you can always reach out, negotiate deals, and so on. Now, there's the developmental editing. That's typically the first editing, where the manuscript. Can you help me with the muting, Oratile? All right. This basically is where the whole manuscript is being looked at and scrutinized, If typically this is where most authors would say, oh my God, my book came back from editing and it's not the same book. It's like, all the things, the notes from the editors just chips and chops a whole lot of aspects of your book, your style of writing and everything. It's very intense. It needs somebody who's very emotionally strong to really be objective here. So you need, ideally, have a good relation with your editor. If possible, find an editor that understands your style of writing. If you have a good relationship with such an editor, then this stage won't be so much difficult because they would understand your style of writing and how you package things, and they would edit in a way to best suit your intentions and not in a general aspect of things. And then we have copy editing. That's where now after it comes from this stage or the first stage and you have implemented the notes, you have fixed all that that was suggested for you to fix and all that. Now you have to, it goes back to now where they look at small things such as grammar, spelling, repetition, and all that. So one thing that I forgot to mention when you're writing, I would advise when you content create, when you now write your manuscript, to focus in the writing and not write and edit. Let the message come out. Let your story flow out of you. and then leave the editing for the editing stage. Because if you write and edit, for most parts, we are our own worst critics, or we can be our own worst critics. So you can go in this back and forth, and that you might not even end up finishing your book. You might criticize yourself so much that you lose momentum, you lose your drive, you lose your inspiration. So just put your book or your story down as it goes. Let it flow out of you. And then when we get to the editing, that's when we'll start now rearranging, readjusting, fixing. All that needs to be fixed. Once we are done with copy editing, then it goes through proofreading. We now give it a final look, and then when we are happy, we then start making sure that it's well formatted. So your book is edited, it's well formatted, and then it is packaged now. It's well packaged nicely. You have designed your cover. If you can't do it yourself, then you hire an illustrator or a graphic designer rather, who designs your cover, and it's beautiful. You're happy. Before even finishing to design your cover, you need to get an ISBN. People charge for ISBN, but reality is ISBN is free. You get ISBN from your National Library of South Africa. So you simply write an email to this lady. Here's her email address. You can note it down. You give information, particular specific information. You request, greetings, Kolofelo. I'm requesting an ISBN for the following book. You list the title of the book, the writer, the publisher, publishing date, anything else that I'm forgetting, your contact information, and then you send your request. Okay, you can also identify what version are you looking for, a print book or an ebook, because the ISBNs differ. And then they're usually prompt, but you can also, support the process by making your follow-ups. And then once you have your ISBN, you then go to an app. There's apps, barcoding apps, barcoding generating apps, where they give you, Kolofelo will give you how many? 11 digits. If I remember well, it's an 11-digit number. And then you take that number, put it in an app, barcode generating app. You find this on Google. Or you can find it as an app on an app store. And then you put that number in, and then it will generate a barcode for you. You download that barcode, you put it in the back of your book. And then you can then say, once it's designed, you put your ISBN, everything is edited and aligned, you can then print it out if you may. So you have to, there's another option. So people print books, but there's another option now to actually work around it, because not everybody affords to print books. There's an option called print on demand. I've mentioned it before, where you can go to Amazon. There's other platforms. There is a place called print on demand. You can research more other places like that, where you just send a soft copy of your book description, and all the important information they will ask for. And then you pay for that service. And then what they do, they will place your book based on where you asked. They can place your book on Take-A-Lot, They can place your book on other platforms, international platforms. And then all that happens is that if your book is placed on Take a Lot, when when somebody buys your book, Print on Demand prints that copy, and then it is then delivered to that person. So there is a waiting period. If you typically buy such a book, you'll probably wait for 7 days or so, less than 10 days, 5 to 7, maximum 10, depending on location of the buyer. So this takes the weight off the author, the printing weight, the printing cost weight. So you don't have to print books today or in today's times. We can simply go for print on demand. It gets to a place like your Take a Lot, Amazon, and so on. And then it becomes the value chain of now from print to client or reader. You don't need to give yourself the headache of now making sure that the book is printed, this and this and that, this and this and that. Your headache would be now just to make sure that you market your book and people go buy your book. Moving on from there, because you got an ISBN from the National Library of South Africa, you have the duty to deposit 5 hard copies. These ones you need to print. You must print by right, legally. You have 5 copies that you need to print and distribute them or send them to these places within 14 days of your book being published. So I don't know if you want to take a screenshot or whatever, you have to have this in mind. Okay. So remember, always do your legal deposits. If you haven't, it's never too late. You can always do it. Even if you've published that book long time ago, you have to do it. Because once they start auditing and realize that they've given away an ISBN and this book was published, but it was never deposited, there's legal issues involved there. Okay, we are going through to the final section. So in this final section, we are going to look at brand development, marketing, distribution, and book launch. Allow me to scratch out book launch. So when it comes to brand development, author brand development, you need to package yourself as an author. You are the brand, right? It's important. Now, when you package yourself, you need to clarify the purpose of the brand or your message. What is this? What is your vision? What do you want to say from this brand as an author? What should we expect out of you? What is the message that you want us to get out of you as an author or as a brand? So you identify these for yourself, your purpose, your vision, your mission, your core values, just like any other business. You are the business, right? And then, of course, it's very important to identify or know your audience. I echo this. This has come up various times through the presentation. Identify your audience, know your audience. Your audience are your readers, right? That is your target market. You craft your persona. How do you want us to receive you, or how do you want to be seen or received? Your your voice or your writing style and your visual style. The visual style involves actual branding, your theme colors. Whenever you see green and white, sometimes that orangish, yellowish, you know that that's typically Bukonebo Literature Focus Festival. So you need to have consistency with that as well. Stay consistent. Don't lose us by changing unless you upgrade or rebrand. When I read a book without knowing who is it or who's the author, but I know about your work, I've read your books before, I should be able to decipher that, this must be Lerato. This writing is Lerato's writing, because your style is unique. Your voice is unique, Build an online presence. You need to have author profiles, or your profile, define it as an author. When we go there into your profile, we must know that, okay, this person's brand is book related, or they are related. They are an author, basically. Social media is important, Instagram, your Facebook, and so on. You need to have a website as well, at least a landing page. Make sure that you are visible. If I need to look you up, I need to find something about you. Network and collaborations, where necessary, I've mentioned that. Partnership, collaborations, and so on. Be in a position to do that, to do the word escaped me, but to work with other people, to connect with other people, to pursue a common goal, in a way that will benefit your brand. So whoever that you decide to collaborate with, make sure that they're in alignment with your brand. Missing that could hurt your brand. Marketing or market strategically. So ideally, when you publish a book, after publishing a book, you launch it. That's how you make people aware that your book is available, it's out there, and they can access it, right? And then also, when you use online platforms such as social media, you have to now start learning how to use the ad function, use ads and be able to use the right, or to target your ads correctly. So the ad function will ask you to identify the type of people that you want to access, or you want the ad that you are posting to reach. If you don't, it will reach people who are not even interested in reading or the type of content you are presenting. So you decipher specifically that I want to reach people who are in Northwest, people who are writers. So you would put Northwest writers, authors, and so on, to be specific. So every people who have coded themselves through their profiles and the content that they share, through their bios and whatever that they have identified themselves in on the social media platform, can access this information or can access the ad, right? And then also go to events or participate in events, network. If there's a launch, also go attend, network, see how other people are doing it. Okay, ask, go to seminars, festivals, writing festivals, network, expose yourself, expose your book there. The sky is the limit. But when you do that, make sure that you have packaged yourself well. The book launch, the the festival that we had in the beginning of this year, I was so impressed when I saw some authors who have branded themselves so professionally. Like they had the branding material, banners, and all that, taking their craft as an actual business, business cards and all that. Consider having that in place, and be consistent in the message that you want to share or that you're sharing. Be consistent in your brand. Like I said, if you're going to choose particular theme colors, be consistent with that. So when we see you, when we see those colors, for instance, we have an idea that it's this person. Be consistent in your voice. The only change is growth. It's ideal if you stay consistent so your people can know how to identify you. And if you grow out of your voice, do it in a way where your people can still reach you and still find you relevant and grow with you. Stay authentic. That is very, very important. But remember, stay authentic in a way that is relatable. People can still connect with you, because truth is, if you have a message that you need to share, that you want to share, but you package it in a way that is authentic to you, but we can't decipher, we can't decode it, we can't understand you, then it does not make sense. A simple example, if you feel like, I am a Spanish-speaking person, hypothetically, but you are in an environment where nobody has any idea about Spanish, but this is not the best example. It's not the best example, but anyway, I'll continue with it. Now, you write a book in Spanish, and you're in South Africa, nobody knows Spanish, nobody cares about Spanish, and you expect people to buy your book locally. You can do that, but provided your target is international, then that's fine, it makes sense, right? So it's those finer things that we need to always revisit, reconsider, always have in mind in this whole entire process of authorpreneurship. So continuously grow is important. This is a repetition. It's important that you keep learning and be in a position to seek feedback. Put yourself out there if needs be, and ask for genuine feedback. Criticism comes back, it's fine. Take it and let it help you to improve your brand, improve your offering, improve your message, and grow from that. So let's briefly look into the distribution aspect of things. I have been mentioning it, or parts of it, through the previous slides. So once your book is published, you have this beautiful book, everything is, in place. Now the question is, where do you take this book, right? I had mentioned print on demand, I have mentioned Amazon, KDP. So you have the duty to now start scouting online platforms that align to you, that align to what you are looking for, all right? These are just a few examples. There's a whole lot out there. So it's, we can distribute, or you can distribute your book. Sorry, let me drink something. Okay. So you can distribute your book online, right? And you can also do direct sales. That's where the website can come in as well, where you sell your book directly from your website. Websites are cheap these days, so they're not as bad as before. And this is another workshop that hopefully I can get to package in future, where I take you through how to the easiest way to get yourself a basic website that you can use to sell your books, or at least direct people to a link where they can access your book. And then social media, I've spoken about social media. You can use social media, to engage your market and sell your stuff or your book. WhatsApp as well is becoming it's also a silent, powerful tool that can be used to sell or distribute your book. It's basically WhatsApp business. I hope most of you are familiar with it. Print on demand, I've mentioned it. There's an organization actually called Print on Demand. Look it up and then look up more companies that offer print on demand services. So print on demand can help you get your book on Take-A-Lot. We also have physical. You can sell your book physically at bookstores, book fairs, book markets, or boot sales. There's people who would just sell their books from the back of their boot, or set up tables in malls, or whatever the case. You can mix and match. You can select a few or various options out of these options, and create a hybrid that works for you. You don't have to do one option. Diversify your options, if you may, please. So basically, bookstores also, most people are wondering how to get to bookstores. The easiest way that I've found is to actually go to the store. Go to the actual store. For instance, is it P&A? If you want to sell your book to P&A, you would just basically go to P&A, inquire how do you get your book there, and then they will give you their process. They will give you their documents or their forms, and they'll tell you what to bring. So it's not a rocket science. It does not need complex things. You just go there, and then they give you the information, and then you supply the information that they are requesting, and your book is there. Just pay attention to the agreements that you would have to sign up for. And if it works for you, if you're okay with it, then you're good to go. Now, marketing, this is very basic, high level. It's also a science of its own. It needs a whole session. We have spoken about brand identity, which is very important. You have to market yourself or package yourself as a brand, and then sell yourself as a brand. Author brands are key in actually driving your book sales. And then content marketing. This is where now you use the support of other platforms or models of writing to support the sales of your book and your brand. This is where you can bring in blogging. You can blog about the subject of your book, just give insights around your book, or whatever the message that you want to sell or share. And then from there, direct people to the sales of your book, right? You can also use TikTok videos, YouTube videos. It's mostly about getting yourself out there as the brand now. Being courageous enough to be out there. You are the brand. Selling books from the background as an authorpreneur does not work. I guess very few cases it needs to be a very special book, or you need to have a very strong, unique marketing strategy to do that. Anything is possible, but generally, you need to put yourself out there. And then look into email marketing, where you, from your website, from your social media, from all these platforms that you have, you need to be in a position whereby you can build a mailing list for yourself. If you have a website, then you can give something away for free. It can be a guide, a basic guide, a very basic guide that people can download and sign up, or sign up to download. From there, you have a mailing list. When people download that, you have a mailing list. You have a mailing list. This mailing list you can use to send promotions or in new information about your brand, about your book. And those who are interested will then follow the call to action to maybe purchase or sign up for whatever that you are selling or that you are offering. And those who are not can always sign out of that, So just invest your time and energy in understanding these elements and how you can use them. So you can also, people are using this one, influencer and community engagement. If you see that somebody has a following, a good following, and you can then offer them their book, please, may you read my book online. And when people see a celebrity or a celebrated person or a person who has a good following having your book, giving your book a good recommendation or whatever, they would also want a piece of your book as well. So consider doing that. Sometimes, or if not most times, there are people who do that professionally, and they'll be willing to promote your book for you, but you would typically have to pay a certain fee sometimes. But if you're a good negotiator or a good scouter, you can find people who can do that for you for free or for close to nothing, or you can gift them your products if you have any products to offer. Okay, promotional campaigns. So you can host book launches, you can host book signings, you can give away gifts, you can give away your books for free, you can also give away discounts to purchase of purchasing your books, whatever that you are willing to offer, but be willing to offer in order to receive, so find a model that can best work for you. And also there's one thing that we call pre-orders. Let's say hypothetically you're working on your book. It's not yet published. You haven't even finished the manuscript yet, but you have full confidence and you are dedicated that you'll finish your manuscript. You can start promoting your book before even finishing it and put it on pre-orders. And if you promote it well enough, if you market it well enough, people can start pre-ordering your book. People can start paying for you to reserve them a copy. And if you do that well enough, that money you can use to actually maybe drive your publishing process, to pay an editor and so on and so forth. A few people get it right, but it's possible. You just need to invest yourself and be very strategic about it. If you get the marketing right, you'll be good to go. So I've mentioned this: advertising, social media campaigns or social media ads. Also share in groups. Make sure that you are in groups that speak about writing, that has writers, that has readers, and If they allow you to share it, you share it. Always look for a community where there's like-minded people, like a group of readers. And that's where you start networking and promoting your brand, your book, and so forth. So I think, yeah, we have come to the end of our presentation. So in essence, an authorpreneur is a new age author. Basically, it's an author who takes an entrepreneurial approach to their work, right? And therefore, you need to invest yourself to go through that whole process and manage the business aspect of your work, that is your book, of yourself as a brand. Talking of brand, for you to successfully do that, it is important to package yourself as a brand. Have an author brand. And with that, you can place yourself in a position where you can even diversify your income streams. You are merely an author. You are merely a writer who's writing with an intention to publish. But now, as you package yourself as a brand, conveying a particular message, you can place yourself in a position whereby you can now start having public talks or talking in functions about whatever message that you want to share. And you can get paid for that. You can be a public speaker from the very same book or same message. You can then place yourself in a position whereby you teach now, or you facilitate, or you share the information, and get yourself paid for that. If you package yourself well enough, people would want to pay for the service that you render or attend your workshops. That's another option of income streams that you can get. You can merchandise, like I have mentioned, sell t-shirts, cups, pens, whatever that it may, depending on the message that you are sending. The sky is the limit. So really invest yourself in this journey. Be determined and want to do it. It's an ongoing journey. I feel like a motivational speaker now. But it's an ongoing journey. It has its own challenges, but it is worth it. Taking ownership and responsibility of your own creation and making sure that you thrive out of it, I think it is very fulfilling, in my opinion. So with that said, success is no accident, but hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you do or what you are doing, or even learning to do. Remember, you don't have to know it all at this stage, but make effort to learn. These elements can be learned. And then that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening to me as I go on and on and on and on for, almost hours. Now, it's your turn. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hands. Let me just quickly go to the chats first to see if, I'm going to stop. Let's see. Oh, okay. So, all right. Oratile, can you assist with the questions? I'm struggling to stay on screen and read questions at the same time. Can we start with the questions on the chat first?
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. On the questions, I'm going to open the floor first to Bafana. He had a question long during the. I'd love you to come to the floor and ask your question. It was in regards to ISBN.
Did they type it on the chat?
Yes, would you like me to read it?
Yes, please.
He was asking what ISBN for.
Okay, so ISBN is a unique code that identifies your book. You see, when you go to the shop, supermarket, and you buy a product and they scan it, ding, that scan then identifies what exactly that product is. So the ISBN is basically to identify your book, you know. So as soon as it's a barcode that goes in the back of your book. Every book has an ISBN. So immediately when we scan your book, then it will appear on our systems as whatever title your book is, or the system will pick up exactly the product, what product we have scanned. And it's important, every book is meant or supposed to have an ISBN.
Okay, thank you. I believe that answers his question. Next up, Tiralezo, please do unmute yourself and take the floor.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Yes. So I wanted like to ask about educational sectors, such as schools, colleges, and universities. So regarding this book distribution, I wanted like to ask, like through your facilitator, through your organization, I be able to collaborate in taking these books into educational sectors? So that's my first question. So can we just jump on that question, then we can carry on through this conversation?
Okay, I'm gonna answer you now, right?
Okay.
So, so your question is, can you collaborate with Bokone Bophirima Literature Focus to get your books through the education system?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one aspect I didn't cover in the presentation, but it's also one key distribution channel that is not, then the insight is not clear. Basically, in general, books, or there's a call out, the Department of Education, Gauteng has a call out annually or biannually where they take in books, right? You have to get the form, fill in their form, and submit a copy of your book. But first, you have to make sure that your book meets the requirements of a book that can be subscribed into the education system. They have a particular requirement, right? They do not take any book or any books, any other books, let me rather say. That's one thing I would like to make clear. So we as Bokone Bophirima Literature Focus Festival have been trying to engage with the Department of Education Northwest, because we are a Northwest-based festival, right? So far, we have not, we are not successful so far. What we get is that we are sent to Joburg or Gauteng. No, the subscribed books are been, or that process has been, what is the word, done through Gauteng. So from the Northwest perspective, it does not seem like there is such a process, but we are still working on trying to understand the value chain or the process on how can Northwest-based books be taken or subscribed. I think Ntate Palazzi, do we have Ntate Palazzi online?
No, we lost him.
We lost him. Okay. He's one author, I think, whose books have been subscribed, and we could also, get his wisdom on the process he had to follow. For now, we as Bokonebo Bophirima Literature Focus Festival cannot help you with that, but we will update you once we get to a place where we are able to have connected with a channel of getting local books through the education system. But before even getting local books, we would have to position ourselves in a place where we communicate what are the requirements, what are the expectations from the education department to assist you to best package your books in alignment with their requirements, and then create a channel for us to be able to take the books through. For now, it is done through the Department of Gauteng, Education Gauteng. That's the insider information that we have at this current moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. Another question is based on, like, I have a question directly to you, ne?
Yeah.
So, in terms of collaboration with author, ne?
Mm.
How can like, because I want us to collaborate on these literature sectors, ne?
Mm.
So I do recommend collaboration with you. Then I think everything will take it from there. Once we get into the hold of collaboration, then I think it will be the best direction in which we can be able to work. Right now, like, I have done like more than 10 books, but I have only published 2 books. So in this sense, I do recommend collaboration with you in terms of these books.
So you have written 10 manuscripts and published 2 books.
So
So collaboration, it would depend in what sense. So we as a platform, we have modeled our platform in a way that we promote literature, we promote writers, we are a channel where writers can access information, writers can access publishers. That's the platform that we have created. So in terms of collaboration, we are open that you invite us. If you have a workshop, if you have an event, a book launch or whatever, you can then communicate with us, use the platform to promote your work or promote your event, promote your workshop. We are open for that. As long as it's writers or literature or book related, we are open to open our platform to help you promote or to help authors promote their work. So I'm not sure if there's anything in specific that you are talking about when you say collaboration. But let's do this. Let's not make it a conversation, right? Get in touch with us. I'm not sure if you are in the WhatsApp group. Email us or WhatsApp one of the admins. You can WhatsApp Oratile, and then we take the conversation further. If you have any specific thing that you want to collaborate on, then we can take it on the side and discuss it.
Okay. So I, in regard to email and contact, I'm waiting for them.
Okay. Oratile will
Like
post.
I want contact. Are you great? You. It's been a great day today, having this conversation with you.
Okay. I'm good, thanks. I'm not sure if I heard you. I lost you somewhere, but let's continue the conversation offsite, so we give other people an opportunity to ask questions as well. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there
So
any other?
let-
I'm moving on. Hello. Is there any other
yes, I'm
questions? Okay, allow me to move on so we can get more questions. If there's no other questions, then we can then look into further questions from you.
Sorry,
okay.
we have something on the chat.
Yes, please.
Botilo is asking, as a first-time author, is it a must to have a website to market your book on, especially at the fact that she plans to publish just one for now?
Well, even if once you have published, you are an author. It doesn't matter whether you're first time or whatever. If you are building a brand, then you have to set up key platforms that will help you promote yourself, your book, right? So I would recommend that once your book is published, you can get a website or at least a landing page, as part of your marketing tools. All right. It doesn't matter first time, second time, 10th time. I hope that's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions?
No, that's all for now.
Okay. So one important thing, I have an apology for the second session of copyright awareness. Our facilitator just sent through an apology. He was supposed to join us. There's an emergency. We promised to reschedule that segment or make it a live, one of the two, but we will communicate directly to you as well as on our social media platforms. So for this session, I think this was too much information to share. Should be enough for the day. We will reconnect soon with more insights to share with you, particularly on the subject of copyright awareness. There will be more workshops based on the other elements that we have identified, such as marketing and branding and so forth. And then if you also have some insights or information to share, we are willing and happy to give you the platform to share the insights through a webinar like this, or host you through our platform as you share with the general public. Thank you so much. We have come to the end of our session. If there's no other closing question, then yes, I see a question. Sire?
So I wanted to get the contact details of Oratile so that we can be able to communicate further.
Okay. Can you quickly type in an email address and then the email address, website, and contact number? You can share mine as well.
Okay, let me just type that.
Over and above that, we will share them on our website as well. And any other information you can, not our website, on our social media platform. Any other information you can always access on our social media platform. Okay. So by right, I'm officially closing the session. Oratile, is there anything you would like to say? Okay. I think she's not
Sorry,
there.
I got lost there. I think the best way, Tira, I've got your contact numbers. Let me just liaise with you on that, on the side with the right contact information, and then yeah, we can take it from there. I think for me, it's just to thank you, our facilitator, for the great session and the knowledge you shared, and just thank everyone who stuck with us from the beginning to the end. We thank you for your participation, your questions and comments. And yeah, until the next session, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.